So the number one key thing is actually having a strategy and making sure that what you're putting out there to the world and promoting and to your target market, to your niche, is actually what they're looking for. I mean,
Bravo.
so many
What a
times,
concept.
yeah, I mean, so many times you see people building these mansions of content and all these other things, websites, membership sites, webinars, but people don't want it.
Welcome to the Expert Authority Coach Podcast, the one-stop spot for entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, and business owners just like you who are ready to rise, shine, and finally be seen as the go-to authority in their field. I'm your host, Christine Blosdale, also known as the Expert Authority Coach, and my mission is to help you build a magnetic brand, grow your visibility, and turn your expertise into real, lasting influence and income. If you want to dive deeper, head on over to my website, expertauthoritycoach.com, where you can explore all the groovy stuff that I've created for you. And you can even book a free discovery call with me. I'd love to hear from you. Once again, head on over to expertauthoritycoach.com to book that free call today. And if you're enjoying the show, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's ready to step into their expert authority as well. You can share the love, and only good karma will come back to you. I promise. Alrighty, so let's jump into today's episode. Hey, welcome back to the Expert Authority Coach Podcast. I am your Expert Authority Coach, Christine Blosdale, and I'm very excited today with my guest being on the show because we're going to be talking about something. This is something that I do and I've been doing for many years, and I've been doing it wrong. Okay. I've been, you know what? Workshops and webinars, master classes, whatever you want to call them, lunch and learns. These are things that we need to do as coaches, as consultants, even authors from time to time to expand our audience, to get people to understand what it is that we do, what we offer, what our services are, and how we can help them. And when we do these things, we can bring in a whole new clientele. We can bring in new people into our world. It's a great thing. But if you're not doing it right, then are you wasting your time? You know, if a tree falls and nobody's there, does it really happen? Well, my guest today is going to clear some of that up for you and give you some great tips on how you can have a very successful webinar, workshop, masterclass, whatever you would like to call it, but to have it with a strategy so you can benefit from it. All right. My guest today is the wonderful Nyrie Roos, and she is the co-founder of Explosion Marketing. She is going to be helping us today to have a strategy and to get going with our workshops, webinars, masterclasses, and to kick into 2026 with some success. So welcome, Nyrie, to the show.
Well, thank you, Christine. It's great to be here, and thank you for allowing me the time to share with your audience and hopefully give them some insights and some tactics and some strategies to really make a difference in 2026 with what they're doing online and with their webinars and their presentations.
Now, I like to always cut to the chase and say, okay, Nyrie, what are people, myself included, but what are the things that people, and these can be coaches or speakers, service providers of all stripes, what are we doing wrong? What are some of the most biggest mistakes that you see in people having a webinar or a workshop or a masterclass online?
Okay, lady after my own heart, love to cut straight to the chase. I don't
Yeah.
like the fluff and all that stuff. No, just get in and get it done. So probably the key things, and that's a brilliant question because I see a lot of things that are happening, and especially with the consulting on webinars that I do that aren't converting as well as people would like. So the number one key thing is actually having a strategy and making sure that what you're putting out there to the world and promoting and to your target market, to your niche, is actually what they're looking for. I mean,
Bravo.
so many
What a
times,
concept.
yeah, I mean, so many times you see people building these mansions of content and all these other things, websites, membership sites, webinars, but people don't want it. And at
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's not going to convert. So, how do you actually making sure that you do your research correctly and have a strategy to actually follow that through, and making sure you're delivering to the right target market as well and speaking their language? So, the positioning, there's a number of elements that come into that around positioning and, how you actually how do you change even your webinar title, your landing page title from something that's really vanilla to something that really grabs someone's attention and they go, wow, I've got to click this button and I've got to go along to this webinar and see what they're talking about. So there's so many elements that go into that, but really thinking outside of the box. And a lot of the time with clients that I work with, they'll come to me with quite vanilla ideas. And I'll say to them, well, how do you know this is going to sell? Have you actually asked people around you? Have you asked your target market? What are their greatest needs? And I suppose that all comes back to over the years, we've conducted so much market research. And the key thing that always came through in our niche was lead generation and sales training. So
Mm.
I could have gone off and built this huge empire based on something else that really wasn't right up there for them. So it really pays to listen to your audience. One of the other key things that I find people often do is actually with their webinars, they think that, okay, well, how am I going to promote this webinar? How am I going to position this webinar? And they think, well, the answer is to spend huge amounts of money on ads. Not a good idea. Not a good idea, especially when you're starting out. There's a time and place for ad spend, but certainly not when you're starting out, and certainly not in the world, I would say, of webinars to start out with, simply because the cost per click is so expensive. And a lot of people, especially on Facebook, and I hope I don't offend anyone here, people click on things on Facebook and they don't even remember clicking on them.
Yeah.
They'll sign up for your webinar. You'll get people on your list, but they're not people that are ever going to convert or buy. So you've got to be really careful about that. And people think, well, okay, well, I'll run out and I'll just, and this is something we teach our clients how to get really high quality JV partners and collaborative partners. They'll run out and think, oh, I'll get all these, contact all these people on LinkedIn and get all these partners that will send for me. Truth of the matter is, unless you're actually, really going through and researching who you're connecting with and who you're approaching for your JV partnerships, you're going to end up really sadly disappointed most of the time, because people will promise you the world, but then they won't deliver on the reciprocal sends and things like that, or they've got the wrong target market. So that's a couple of things. Another thing with the actual webinars itself, there's two key things with webinars. Okay. And one of the first thing is I find a lot of people over teach on webinars. They
Mm.
don't.
Guilty as charged. Let me give you as much value as I can, and then I
Yeah,
give too much.
absolutely. And they get to the end and think, well, wow, why do I need you? I can run off and do it myself.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean they can, but they think they can. So you've got to, there's a, particular process that we work to, or formula, if you'd like to use it that way. And it's a strategy we use where you keep it quite high level. And with your webinars, you make them very interactive and very focused on the person, on the actual attendees, not on you. Because at the end of the day, people attend webinars because they've got a problem.
Yeah.
You've convinced them to show up through your marketing and your promotional material. So they're there giving you some of their time. So you need to talk about them and why they're there and focus in on that. At the end of the day, they don't really care too much about us. Okay.
Yes.
So so you don't have to do a 10-minute spiel on who you are and how great you are. It's good to actually put a little bit in there like we do, but you don't need to do that huge spiel. They're interested in what you can do to actually help them relieve the issue that they've got.
Yes.
So that's really important. And probably the last thing I'd say just for this conversation would be when I look at registrations for webinars and conversions of attendees, when I find that something isn't converting as well as you think it should be, and I've done market research around this as well by actually calling attendees and asking them, But one of the key things is positioning your offer correctly. 90% of webinars, maybe even higher, 95% of webinars, you can have a perfect, really good, engaging presentation. But when you get to the end, the call to action is wrong. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're not maximizing that and making it so it is totally so irresistible. And I know that's a word that is thrown around, but people cannot resist the offer that you're putting on the table. And I've even seen it's often the case, or it can be the case, where people will actually even buy into what you're offering just to get your bonuses.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because the bonus, it's the fear of missing out as well. It's like,
Mm,
if I don't sign up right now, I won't get all of these goodies. Right. But if I do sign up right now, I get this, that, and the other, and it's, yeah, it's irresistible. It's at that point. Right.
yeah.
And so you
Mm,
help, but you help people like myself, formulate and create these things, the flow, the system, so to speak, or the checklist of things that you want to have, not only on your marketing for your webinar, your workshop, but also the structure of it. And then also something I think is very valuable that you do offer people, Nyrie, is helping them in crafting that irresistible offer,
yeah.
because that's where you're right, 99% of people fail, right?
Mm,
Or it's towards the end, people know the audience is knowing you're getting towards that offer thing, they're going to feel uncomfortable, so then people start leaving, right? They
mm,
You got a full house, and then by the time you start getting to that offer, people are dropping off like flies. Now,
mm.
you have some great tips, I know, on how to keep people engaged. And right from the moment the moment that you start the webinar, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you
You've
give us
got to,
some of those tips?
yeah, sure. So I very much, right from the first slide, I start engaging them and asking them questions. I get them to visualize things. How would you feel if you're in this situation? Have you been in this situation? What did it feel like? Are you there now? Is this somewhere you want to stay or do you want to move forward with it? So you've got to make sure that you're asking really quite deep questions at times to get people thinking, to get those emotions going, because that will be what engages them and gets them to actually then turn into a client and convert at the end of your presentation.
Yeah.
And you've got to keep it really real and down to earth. No snake oil salesman stuff. It's about a conversation and about having that conversation with them. Just like we're talking now, keep it like that. Okay, have inflection and things in your voice, have excitement in your voice, and wow, you've just got to know this. And I'm so excited to be able to show you this today. So get that energy going, but keep it real for them too.
It's something that you said, Nairi, and this will be my pet peeve number one is, and you mentioned this earlier, the importance of also of offering a workshop, webinar, masterclass, whatever you like to call, offering something that people actually need and want, right? And this is probably with my clients one of the first things that I will go through when I look at their website and I look at the offers, the programs that they have, the courses that they have, those type of things, and or their services, and I'll look at it and I will say to them, is this what your ideal client or customer actually needs and wants? Or is it something that you're most comfortable with offering? And I always do the equation. I basically do the analogy of the stapler analogy. Okay. And that is, hey, Nyrie, nice to see you. Listen, I have the most amazing stapler. This is like the cutting edge, latest design of a black stapler, and it's full of staples. And today, and actually, if you order today, you'll get it for 50% off. You're going to get 50% off the stapler. And Nyrie, my clients and my customers don't need a stapler. They're actually just wanting a sandwich, right? They're just wanting a sandwich. And yet we're shoving down their throat this stapler. And this is the analogy that I give my clients, and it's like a light bulb goes off and they go, "Oh, I've been offering something that I'm comfortable with offering, but they're not needing." And I said,
Mm.
"Bingo bongo. Yes, you're right." So, do you have any do you when you're working with your clients on helping them have better webinars and workshops, what are some things that you take them through to actually have them ditch that stapler, chuck that stapler across the room, and to offer something of importance to their potential clients?
Well, one of the key things, if they've already got a webinar and or if they're already offering programs and services out, we have a look at, are they getting a true return on investment for that? So are people engaging with it? If they're engaging with it, why aren't they converting? If that's the issue, where are sort of the humps that are coming through that are stopping conversions? If they haven't got anything as such, if they haven't got a product or services, but they've got this idea like the stapler idea, one of the key things I often get my clients to do in either case is to go back and ask their target market very open questions. Now, one of the key things or ways you can do this that anyone can go and do today, this afternoon, would be pick, a handful, say 15 people that are either current clients or would be your ideal target market that you're connected with.
Yeah.
Have a range of questions and spend a half an hour on the phone with them, not to sell them, but to ask them, as a coach, do you have this problem? Yes. Okay. What sort of things are you experiencing with this problem? And then from there, you can say, well, what would help you to relieve that problem? If there was a solution there, would you engage? Would you buy into something? And if they not say no straight away and you're getting 15 no's, you know you're on the wrong track. But,
Right.
most of the time you're going to get really good information and it will surprise you. It won't be often what you think. You
Yes.
started with a stapler, but you'll end up with a sandwich. Okay. So
Yes.
take the time to do the market research and have conversations with people and find out before you actually launch anything. So that approach is a little bit different to if you've already got something and it is selling, but it's not converting as well as you'd like to. And I think one of the key things I see is people have the same webinar, the same offering, the same messaging for, years on end. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
you've got to
No,
change it up.
don't do that. An example of myself offering that stapler when my clients wanted a sandwich was, and I'm constantly reviewing my offers and reviewing what my what my stapler was or is. And during COVID, so now during the time of COVID, everybody was kind of locked in, right? So I was very busy, and I had clients in the US, I had clients here in Australia, and a smattering in other places, but the majority were people locked in and they needed to pivot. They needed to upskill right away, and they had a lot of time on their hands. So I was very busy. But the majority, my big pusher, my big sales, my bread and butter during that time was helping people create for their businesses, for marketing, as a tool for marketing to create podcasts. Everything from coming up with the concept, the name, the cover art, the legal stuff you need, the guest form, the format, how to record, how to edit, how to publish, how to market. So I was very busy, and it was a 4 week program, right? We jammed a lot in 4 weeks, 4 sessions. So, but that was my bread and butter. And man, I was busy. I was making sales like crazy, and I was helping people create their podcasts, and it was fabulous. But then out of COVID, things changed. And for quite some time, I was still pushing that podcast program, right? Why doesn't everybody want to no, darling. No, not everybody. So then I have a mastermind group, a solid group of under 12 people. Any one time it's about 12 people, a dozen people. And I ask them, what what would you like me to cover in this mastermind? What are some issues that you have? And overwhelmingly, it was not, I want to create a podcast. It was, I need help with my branding. I need help with
mm,
my website. I need help with my messaging, my social media, all those things. And it all came down to that branding and the expert authority.
mm.
And that's when I changed my business, being from a media coach, which was, to an expert authority coach,
Yeah.
and to focus in on those needs. And I'll tell you, Nairi, it changed my business. It completely changed my business.
Mm,
It was so important to take a look at and go, you know what? Maybe people don't want to create. Do I have clients that want to do a podcast and I help them? Yes. But
mm,
that's not my bread and butter right now.
mm. So you were smart. You pivoted. I was actually just reading some statistics this morning, and since COVID, things were different during COVID. We came out of COVID, and since COVID, 50% of the businesses that were generated during COVID, and I'm talking digital marketing
Yeah.
online, like you were
Yeah.
talking about, have actually, they're no longer in existence.
Wow.
So you need to actually pivot. And so when you've got a solid idea, like, like you've got there, you'll keep changing it up and doing things and responding to people's needs and, what they're wanting. And that's so important because if you don't, you're just going to become extinct.
A dinosaur.
Mm. Absolutely. So you need to actually change things up. And the way technology is going too, you've got to keep abreast of what's happening there. And you've got to try and match into, we've seen how AI and everyone's flooded to AI. They've sort of stepped back a little bit in some circles now, but that was all the rage. And you see AI everywhere. So, think about how you can engage AI, but, still keep it very real and very human. So you need to keep an eye on what's going on
Yes.
with the market.
And your clientele, they're not going to be deserting you going to a new technology, but you need to be able to be that bridge for them. I know when I did in October for Small Business Month here in Australia, I for the state of New South Wales, they're wonderful. They allowed me to have workshops and webinars. And I will tell you, the webinar that I did for small businesses, right? For small businesses, how to use AI, and it was a beginner's workshop, right? How to use AI ethically, but also in their marketing and branding. I had so many people sign up for it, and so many people came into my world because I was tapping into that AI chat GPT craze. I think I even used the word chat GPT in the title because if you say AI, people go, oh, I don't know what that it could be. It could be anything. But when you say chat GPT, people understand it and it's a recognizable brand. So,
Mm,
but I had to increase my Zoom meeting space to accommodate up to 500 people, whereas my other workshops and webinars on other things were, healthy, up to 100. But this one was like an explosion of people wanting to know. So that's
mm.
that's an example of being like in the Matrix. You know how Neo kind of goes backwards. Go with the flow, you
Yeah.
know. Don't be a
Mm.
dinosaur. Okay, that's cool. So if people want to, I know because I'm hearing the collective audience go, "Oh my gosh, this is very exciting. I need to listen to this woman a bit more." Nairi, how do people get in touch with you, or is there something that you can help them with for their next webinar or workshop they want to create?
Yeah, sure. So one of the key ways they can connect with me is just I offer a free 30-minute call where I'll get on a phone call with them and just get to know them and see where
Very
they're at.
valuable. That's valuable.
And yeah, so we can certainly do that for people. And every month I run a free webinar, but I'd really encourage a call because that way it keeps it real for you and it's very personalized and we can talk about what issues you're facing. And I'll very soon tell you if I think that I can't help you. I'm not the type of person that will try and
Yeah.
make you a client just for the sake of making you a client.
Nairi, I'll put the link in the show notes for people so that
Mm-hmm,
they can reach out to you. Of course, too, they can go to your website as well to learn more about your services. It's
mm-hmm,
explosionmarketing.com.au. Yes.
mm-hmm. Yes.
And but then the link for that very valuable 30-minute call And I highly recommend people, if you're listening to this and you're excited about any of this, don't sit on it. Don't say one day, because one day won't come. Take a look at the show notes and click the link so that you can book that time with Nyrie. And also, when you book that free time with her, show up. This is my message for today. I did my AI meta video today and I put it on some of the platforms. Everyone's time is valuable, but especially someone who's as knowledgeable as Nyrie, you want to make sure that you actually show up to that appointment. It says a lot about you and your character, but it also says that you respect Nyrie's time. So make sure that you actually follow through and show up. Okay. That's my little PSA for today. Thank you again, Nyrie Roos, for being on the Expert Authority Coach podcast. I really appreciate you and your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers. If you're watching on YouTube, you get to see my lovely guests. But if you're just tuning in, if you've just found us and you are liking what you're hearing, please make sure you subscribe and share this with others. Don't keep it to your stingy little self. Make sure you repost this on your social media or send this episode to somebody you think would benefit from what Nyrie was talking about. I think that's really important as well. Share the wealth. And if you want more information about my coaching programs, my mastermind, my accelerator program, which accelerates your expert authority, it's 90 days and your expert authority can go through the roof. If you work with me, you can go to expertauthoritycoach.com. All that information is there at the website. All right. Until next time, keep growing your expert authority, keep creating those webinars and workshops, and don't offer a stapler if somebody wants a sandwich, damn it. All right. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.